We're joined now by Texas Democratic Congressman Lloyd Doggett, an expert on all things Rick Perry. But first, let's talk about the president's bus trip and the tour across the Midwest. He's been getting some pushback from his own base supporters. And as we saw earlier, the Congressional Black Caucus has been in Detroit as part of their jobs tour, getting an angry reaction about what they see as the president focusing on one portion of middle America and not on their needs.
Well, I think it's just such an incredible contrast between a president who's out there talking about bringing us together to address our challenges, and Governor Perry, elected as governor by talking about secession from the Union and now using the term treason about an important federal economic official. Rick Perry will do anything, say anything to get elected president, but I think this time he's put his boot in his mouth. I do want to see President Obama focusing more on jobs. And of what he just outlined, the one that I think that is most important is doing work that needs to be done to deal with our infrastructure here in San Antonio, Austin, across Central Texas, and across America. There are jobs out there. There are skilled construction workers who could be at work where people across America see what we're building and know that the economic recovery is getting in place.
Now, I know you're a longtime critic of Rick Perry, but let's look at the numbers. He claims, and it's been substantiated by PolitiFact and others, that 40% of the new jobs across America in the last 2 years did come from Texas. Now, the explanation is a little more complicated. There are military jobs. We're in 2 wars. A lot of federal money being spent there. There's the oil and gas industry, as you well know. There's a population explosion and a lot of new trade with Mexico. That said, he is creating jobs. So does he have a very potent message, especially with Republican voters?
Andre, as you know, Governor Perry is very big on miracles, especially those that he thinks he performed. I don't think he brought the oil and gas out of the earth. I don't think he's responsible for the many government jobs that came as a part of the Federal Economic Recovery Act that he attacked just with one voice as he was reaching out to get billions of dollars of federal money to help balance the state budget with the other. So many of these jobs in the alleged Perry miracle, which is really a bit of a Texas tall tale. So many of those jobs are minimum wage and lower. So many of them are government, and some of them are just jobs that got moved from one state to another. I don't think Rick Perry has outlined a single bit of an economic vision about how he would turn this country around. His message is always, let's do less. Let's make Washington inconsequential. We tried that approach before, and it led to a serious economic decline and a financial crisis. We need Washington that is lean but responsive on these problems, and particularly taking some leadership on job growth and job creation in America instead of just exporting all our jobs.
And Congressman, the president's job tour and the bus tour has been criticized. We're going to hear from Reince Priebus and the Republican Party later in the program. But what about his own problem with the Democratic base, because he's getting a lot of pushback along the way from disappointed Democrats?
Well, I think we've wanted to see him more engaged. He has tried to bring people together, but some people just don't want to be brought together. I wish Lyndon Johnson's "Come Let Us Reason Together" worked, but these people who are elected to be disagreeable won't agree. We'd like to see the president be a little more assertive, stand firmly behind Medicare and Social Security and retirement security, and promote an active jobs agenda. That takes money. It takes some spending. It can be fully paid for without worsening the deficit by closing some of these international corporate tax loopholes that have only led to the export of American jobs. So I'm pleased to see the president talk about jobs. I'd like to see some leadership when we're back in September, forcefully pushing a jobs agenda that is fully paid for. And probably we really need, with all the kind of cutbacks Rick Perry has made here in Texas to our public schools and cutbacks that are occurring in other parts of the country, federal support for education to help open opportunities for the future and improve our competitiveness. I'd like to see the president get more actively behind that.
Lloyd Doggett, Democratic Congressman from Texas, thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.